Hello, sweet squirrels. Let me not knock your ears out. Okay, let's get back on whatever chapter this is. You'll know. It'll have a title, but I don't have it right here in front of me. I think it was chapter 9. There, and Miss Mills pointed to the door of her own little bedroom. She was well enough to be moved tonight, so I brought her home and laid her safely in my bed. Poor little soul. She looked about her for a minute, and then the lost look went away, and she gave a great sigh, and took my hand in both her thin bits of ones, and said, "Oh, ma'am, I feel as if I'd been born into a new world. Help me to begin again, and I'll do better." So I told her she was my child now, and might rest here, sure of a home as long as I had one. That poor girl was about dead. As Miss Mills spoke in her motherly tone and cast a proud and happy look toward the warm and quiet nest in which she had sheltered this friendless little sparrow, feeling sure that God meant her to keep it from falling to the ground, Polly put both arms about her neck and kissed her withered cheek with as much loving reverence as if she had been a splendid saint. For in the likeness of this plain old maid she saw the lovely charity that blesses and saves the world. "How good you are, dear Miss Mills. Tell me what to do. Let me help you." "I'm ready for anything," said Polly, very humbly, for her own troubles looked so small and foolish, beside the stern hardships which had nearly had so tragic an end that she felt heartily ashamed of herself and quite burned to atone for them. Miss Mills stopped to stroke the fresh cheek opposite, to smile and say, "Then, Polly, I think I'll ask you to go in and say a friendly word to my little girl. The sight of you will do her good, and you have just the right way of comforting people without making a fuss." "Have I?" said Polly, looking much gratified by the words. "Yes, dear. You've the gift of sympathy and the rare art of showing it without offending. I wouldn't let many girls in to see my poor Jenny, because they'd only flutter and worry her. But you'll know what to do, so go and take this wrapper with you. It's done now, thanks to your nimble fingers." Polly threw the warm garment over her arm, feeling a thrill of gratitude that it was to wrap a living girl in, and not to hide away a young heart that had grown cold too soon. Pushing open the door, she went quietly into the dimly lighted room, and on the pillow saw a face that drew her to it with an irresistible power, for it was touched by a solemn shadow that made its youth pathetic. As she paused at the bedside, thinking the girl asleep, a pair of hollow dark eyes opened wide and looked up at her, startled at first, then softening with pleasure at the sight of the bonny face before them, and then a humble beseeching expression filled them, as if asking pardon for the rash act nearly committed, and pity for the hard fate that prompted it. Polly read the language of these eyes, and answered their mute prayer with a simple eloquence that said more than any words, for she just stooped down and kissed the poor child. With her own eyes full and lips that trembled with the sympathy she could not tell, Jenny put both arms about her neck and began to shed the quiet tears that so refresh and comfort heavy hearts when a tender touch unseals the fountain where they lie. "Everybody's so kind," she sobbed, "and I was so wicked I don't deserve it." "Oh, yes, you do. Don't think of that, but rest and let us pet you. The old life was too hard for such a little thing as you, and we're going to try and make the new one ever so much easier and happier. said Polly, forgetting everything except that this was a girl like herself who needed heartening up. "Do you live here?" asked Jenny when her tears were wiped away, still clinging to the newfound friend. "Yes, Miss Mills lets me have a little room upstairs, and there I have my cat and bird, my piano and my posy pots, and live like a queen. You must come up and see me tomorrow if you're able. I'm often lonely, for there are no young people in the house to play with me," answered Polly, smiling hospitably. "Do you sew?" asked Jenny. "No, I'm a music teacher and trot round giving lessons all day." "How beautiful it sounds, and how happy you must be, so strong and pretty, and able to go around making music all the time," sighed Jenny, looking with respectful adoration at the plump, firm hand held in both her thin and feeble ones. It did sound pleasant, even to Polly's ears, and she felt absolutely so rich and so contented that she seemed a different creature from the silly girl who cried because she couldn't go to the party. It passed through her mind like a flash, the contrast between her life and that of the wan creature lying before her, and she felt as if she could not give enough out of her abundance to this needy little sister, who had nothing in the wide world but the life just saved to her. That minute did more for Polly than many sermons or the wisest books, for it brought her face to face with bitter truths, showed her the dark side of life, and seemed to blow away her little vanities, her frivolous desires, like a wintry wind that left a wholesome atmosphere behind. Sitting on the bedside, Polly listened while Jane told the story, which was so new to her listener that every word sank deep into her heart and never was forgotten. "Now you must go to sleep. Don't cry, nor think, nor do anything but rest. That will please Miss Mills best. I'll leave the doors open and play you a lullaby that you can't resist. Good night, dear," and with another kiss, Polly went away to sit in the darkness of her own room, playing her softest airs till the tired eyes below were shut, and little Jane seemed to float away on a sea of pleasant sounds into the happier life which had just dawned for her. Polly had fully intended to be very miserable and cry herself to sleep, but when she lay down at last, her pillow seemed very soft, her little room very lovely, with the firelight flickering on all the home-like objects, and her new-blown roses breathing her a sweet good night. She no longer felt an injured, hard-working, unhappy Polly, but as if quite burdened with blessings for which she wasn't half grateful enough. She had heard of poverty and suffering in the vague, far-off way, which is all that many girls, safe in happy homes, ever know of it. But now she had seen it, in a shape which she could feel and understand, and life grew more earnest to her from that minute. So much to do in the great busy world, and she had done so little. Where would she begin? Then, like an answer came little Jenny's words, now taking a new significance to Polly's mind. To be strong and beautiful and go round making music all the time. Yes, she could do that, and with a very earnest prayer, Polly asked for the strength of an upright soul, the beauty of a tender heart, the power to make her life a sweet and stirring song, helpful while it lasted, remembered when it died. Little Jane's last thought had been to wish with all her might that God would bless the dear kind girl up there and give her all she asked. I think both prayers, although too humble to be put into words, went up together, for in the fullness of time they were beautifully answered. And that's all of chapter 9. Only a little bit, about 10 minutes. Woohoo! Before I get sleepy. Hadn't had a nap today. Chapter 10, which we'll get to tomorrow, is called Brothers and Sisters. Let's see if it's long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 31 and a half pages. Woohoo! That'll be in parts. Hopefully just in 2, but we'll see. Okay, y'all have a happy crafty night. It is 8:20 as I record this. Be sweet, don't be ugly. And sleep well. See you tomorrow at 3. I hope. Hadn't been having too many lately. Come on. Bye-bye.